Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to another Moralis tutorial video. Recently, Moralis launched its integration with the Aptos blockchain. And today we are going to continue exploring the Aptos endpoints of the Moralis SDK. So if you want to see more content for the Aptos blockchain, don't forget to subscribe. Today we are going to check the endpoint get latest deployed coins. As any blockchain, new tokens are deployed constantly on the network, and this endpoint provides us the information of the latest ones. So at the end, we are going to have something like this. We just have to provide a limit, which is going to determine the amount of items we are going to get from the endpoint. And if we click on get coins, we are going to get all the information we need: the coin name, its symbol, the creator address, the coin type, and its decimals. As I put here 10, I'm going to receive the latest 10 coins, which has been deployed on the Aptos network. This is going to be a really straightforward process, and if you want to learn how to accomplish this, keep watching because we are just getting started. What's up YouTube, my name is Vasily, your Web3 instructor from Latin America, Ecuador. I've been building on the space since 2020 with cool crypto projects. In my free time, I really enjoy singing and playing the guitar, and if the time is good, I like to go out and take some meditations. But enough about me, let's go back to the video and start building. So as you already saw, the only required parameter for this endpoint is the limit, which, is going to determine the amount of items we are going to receive. As always, Moralis provides us the code to run this endpoint on different programming languages. Today we are using Python with Django for the backend and React.js on the frontend. And the process to get this information is going to be really simple. First of all, let's copy the code provided by Moralis. Let's go to our code editor. I have here my backend project set it up with Django, and I have a file called services.py. Let's paste that here, and as you can see here, the endpoint requires just 6 lines of code. That's why Moralis makes our lives as developers really easy. Of course, we want to use this into a function which we can call on the backend and then send information through the frontend. Let's import .m to get the environmental variables, and also import OS. Let's use that load.env, and now let's set up our API key. This is the API key connected to Moralis that we need to get in order to access the information to the endpoint. So if you don't have a Moralis account yet, this is the part of the video for you to hit pause, go to moralis.io, and here on your admin panel you are going to have your API key. You just have to copy this and create a new .env file on which you have to paste it. The reason we store the API key here is because sharing your API key represents a security risk, and when we push this into a code repo like GitHub, we can ignore this .env file and keep our keys safe. So let's say here os.getenv Moralis API key. This API key is the one we are going to replace over here. Instead of just using a test API key, we are going to use our own. So let's transform this into a function as I already told you. So def get latest coins, and let's put all this information over here. As you already know, this endpoint requires to set up a limit. So let's say limit, it's going to be a str, and we are going to send that limit over here, but instead of using that 10 we used on the page, let's just say that the limit is going to be equal to the variable we are using as parameter. And of course, let's add a f right here in order to admit variables. And this is it. This is the only thing we need to execute this. So let's just try out if this works properly. Let's call the function getLatestCoins here with the parameter of 10, and we must be able to run this on the terminal using our API key and the parameter over here. So in the backend folder, I just can run python services.py, and this must return a huge string like this one with all the information of those tokens. So now we know this works properly, so we can go back to our Visual Studio Code, delete this, and instead of just printing the response, let's return this. And as easy as that, we already have all we need to get that information out of the blockchain. Now we must create a new view on the view section on which we are going to call that getLatestCoins function. We are going to get that limit from the frontend. We are going to set that coins using that getLatestCoins. passing through the limit, of course, and this response is going to return a big string, and we need to pass this as a JSON to the frontend in order to interact with it. So let's say JSON coins equal to JSON.loads, the coins we are getting from the response of the function we just created over here. And now we can return this with a HTTP response. So return HTTP response, but we need to send this as a JSON, as I told you. So JSON.dumps, the JSON coins, and the content type is going to be application JSON. And finally, for the backend, we just need to add this new view into the URLs. Just don't forget to import the views from the application. In my case, my application is called coins, so I can create here a new path, views.getCoins, and as we want to use relative paths on the frontend, we are setting up also a name, getCoins. Let's save this, and this is it. This is all we need on the backend side. So now in order to run this, I can just back to the main backend folder and use python manage.py run server, and now my server is running. Now we can consume this endpoint on services.py through this view from the frontend. So let's do that. On the frontend side, we need to add a proxy into our package.json in order to connect to the backend, and also we are going to create the request using the library called Axios. This is going to allow us to connect to the backend, and the backend is going to ask all the requests to the Moralis endpoint. And by the way, today we are going to use just a simple small request with a limit number which is not going to be that long. But if your decentralized application is going to work with a lot of petitions, well, if you're working with a big NFT collection or marketplace, step up your blockchain game with Moralis Pro. With twice the computing power and more requests, you can handle even the most demanding projects. Plus, enjoy unlimited daily records on your streams with automatic retries for a seamless experience. And with more replays and longer retention for your historic streams, you'll never miss a beat. Don't settle for basic, upgrade to Moralis Pro today and take your projects to the next level. After that promotional segment, we can continue. So, on the front end, we have this interface you already saw, and this get coins button is already connected to a function we have here called refresh coins, which, as you can see here, is using Axios in order to connect with an endpoint. So, as we already created the endpoint, we just need to use it. The endpoint is called getCoins. We are going to set the limit as the params.limit. Here we have a variable called params, and this params is connected with this input field on which we are setting up those params. And by default, I set it up that limit at 2, but we can change that limit however we want. So once we connect to that endpoint, if everything goes well, for now, let's just make a console.log of the response. Let's save this, go back to the browser, open the console, let's put here again a limit of 10 and click on get coins. And here we are getting the response we need. We have a cursor, and here on the result we have all the information of the latest 10 deployed coins. We can open each one of them, and we are going to have all this information. So instead of just using this on the console, let's render a card for each one of these elements. So on the front end, I have another variable called latest coins, and here instead of just using a console.log, let's set that latest coins to the rest.data.result. So now we need to create a new variable. I called it rendered coins, which is going to map through that latest coins variable, and is going to take the most relevant information, such as the coin name, the symbol, the creator address, and more. So if we save this and return to the page, we can close now the console. Let's reload, set up the limit again to 10. Let's click on get coins, and we are going to get all the information we need, just as I showed you at the beginning of the video. And as easy as that, we did it. We got all the information of the latest coins on the Aptos blockchain using one of the Moralis endpoints. And we accomplished that with just a small portion of code. How cool is that? And that was it for today's tutorial. Don't forget, all the code for this lesson is on the GitHub repo, so check out the link on the description. And as you're already here, click over here to subscribe to Moralis channel, turn on the notifications, and also check out more videos. Thanks for watching till the end, and see you on the next occasion.